Hello, my EDT303Q students. Excuse me. This video is a bit of an interruption. We're going to talk about assignment 2. This is the important assignment. You've seen what I said about assignment 1, right? If you haven't done that yet, then please just get it out of your life tonight. Assignment 2 is the important one. This is marks that you take with you in the exam. You know, I didn't have that when I was a student. I mean, for me, the exam mark was the mark. So you guys have this. You're probably quite used to it, but I wish I had that when I was a student. Really, I do. Anyway, it's worth getting this right. It's worth doing this properly. Right, I'm going to talk both about semester 1 and semester 2, so listen carefully. Semester 1. Right, let's see. Question 1. You will need to answer both questions 1 and 2. Right, you will need to study tutorial letter 102, Religions Education, and the National Policy on Religion and Education to complete this assignment. The policy is in Untitled Letter 103, or you can download it yourself. Google it and you'll find it. It's not difficult. Right, according to the SACE Code of Conduct, an educator, blah, 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 blah. Write a 3-page critical assessment on whether the national policy on religion and education supports this statement in the Code of Conduct. Don't get hung up on the 3-page things. If it works out to 2.5 or 3.5, that's fine. Critical is important. You know, we want you to say, okay, these are nice words, but are they really talking about the same thing? So, I suggest you start with the SACE Code of Conduct because it's shorter. And you cut it up into little pieces. Right, so this includes the right to privacy and confidentiality. Take that little piece. And then you go to the policy and you say, and in the policy, we also find this in paragraph whatever, which says that. Okay, now comes the critical part. You say, however, in the policy it is phrased a little differently, and one wonders if the SACE Code of Conduct, which is so short, really explores all the things that it says in the policy. Alright, so a quick look. There's about 5 or 6 little pieces like that, which you then take one at a time from the SACE Code of Conduct. I don't need to tell anybody what SACE is, right? You're all registered with SACE already. Some of you might even be teaching already. Alright, let's see. Okay, so that is question 1, which is half of the marks. And we want you to explore this stuff. Be critical, be creative. Look at it in depth and say, acknowledge the uniqueness. Is this in the policy as well? Not everything that's in here is necessarily in the policy. It might be. That's for you to find out. Don't just assume that it must be there. Because the SACE Code of Conduct speaks generally. So now we want you to see, how does this apply to religion in terms of the policy. Okay, question 2. Write a 3-page essay comparing the beliefs and practices of, there's a word missing there, one African religion, either San, Nguni, and Sotho-Tswana speakers, and one Abrahamic religion, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. Right, so remember, we're talking about African religion here. Don't bring Christianity into it. This is not a question about African Christianity. We're talking about the San or the Zulu. Now there's a third one in there, Sotho-Tswana speakers. That is for the really ambitious student who can go and find his own material, because in the study material we only talk about the San and the Nguni speakers, the Zulus more specifically. So for most of you, pick either the San or the Zulu, please. Right? And then compare it to one of the Abrahamic religions, either Judaism, Christianity, or Islam. Most of you are going to pick Christianity, I know. No, but let's face it, if one of you picks Judaism or Islam, then your marker is going to wake up and say, whoa, here's somebody doing something different. Different is good. So just put it under headings like belief in God or a supreme being. This supreme being is just another word for God, really. And believe in some kind of afterlife, believe in a spiritual realm, etc., etc. You'll find the headings. Again, structure it from one, either from an African religion or from an Abrahamic religion. Use one of the two as your starting point, right? So believe in ancestors. If I see that, then yeah, it's structured according to the African religion. If I see believe in heaven and hell, then I say, okay, this one structured it according to the Abrahamic religion. Okay, pick one, use its structure, and say, in the other religion, this is not present, and this is present, right? By the way, do you see that word compare? Compare. What does that mean? It means I want to see things like in African religion, this, however, in the Abrahamic religion, that. Do not write two separate paragraphs, one on African and one on an Abrahamic religion. That's not a comparison. Then you're not comparing, then you're making me do the comparison. I don't need to be assessed on comparing African religion and Abrahamic religion because I did that 30 years ago. You need to be able to show that you can do this. You can make the comparison. If you want to put it in 2 columns, that's fine. But make sure that you don't just have columns, you also have rows. So I can see, right, he's talking about belief in God here, and here he's talking about belief in an afterlife, and here, and then you do the same for practices, right? So if you chose to take the Abrahamic religion, let's say Christianity, then baptism. No, there is no baptism in traditional Zulu religion. However, there's something similar where children get drawn into the community and welcomed into the community. Okay, so now semester 2, and this question 1, you need again to study that policy, and if you just skip to the middle of the video, then please go back and hear what I said about semester 1. I'm not going to repeat myself again and again. Government school invites a guest speaker to the assembly every Tuesday. They blum 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 blum. Right, so this is the sort of thing that's going to happen to you when you're teaching, sooner or later. And even if you never become a principal, you should know how to deal with this. Okay, so go to the policy, and in your answer, become the principal, be the principal. Right? You could structure this as a memo to the parent community, saying that you, the principal, have taken notice of what's happening, and you are taking the following steps, and you explain what the policy says about this sort of situation. Okay, that's one way to do it. You could structure it as a interview with a member of the media, a journalist. Journalist comes and asks, what are you doing about this? And you could, what else could you do? You could write down the minutes of a meeting with these students. See? The most boring way is to start with, the principal should. Because that tells me you haven't really dug yourself into this position. You're treating it like something that happens to other people. That's the boring way, and that's the way that gets you the least marks. Right, write a 3-page essay comparing the beliefs and practice of one Abrahamic religion and one Eastern religion. Okay, so go back to what I said in when I was talking about semester 1. The same applies here. I want you to compare two things, not write two separate paragraphs. Compare. So every sentence almost should say, this is what happens in my Abrahamic religion. On the other hand, this is what happens in my Eastern religion. Right? Across all the time. That's comparison. Writing two blocks about one religion and then another religion, that's not a comparison. I shouldn't have to tell you this. You're supposed to be third-year students, but we see this every year. Okay, so that's assignment 2. This is fairly straightforward. And I hope you all do very well in it. Okay, this is me signing off. I think next week we are talking about Christianity.